Good morning, Todd.
He's State Representative Dave Reed joining us here at Indiana in the morning, surprisingly. But we were expecting you. We just didn't know when you'd come. It's good to have you.
Good to be here.
Hey, the aftermath of the big announcement last week from Urban, what are some of the things that you're hearing?
People are very excited. I don't think I've heard as many people talk about an economic opportunity here in Indiana County during my entire tenure. Everywhere I go, people are talking about it, excited about it, looking for ways to potentially, benefit from it. The direct jobs, the indirect jobs associated with it. It's just an exciting development for Indiana County.
Absolutely is. You said something last week to me that I thought was pretty instructive. We're going to have a freshman in the seat that you now occupy after the elections next month. You were able, over the course of, it took a long, long time, years, to develop this relationship, as well as Senator White, as well as Byron Stauffer and everybody else, to develop these relationships with these people that actually resulted in last week's announcement. It takes tremendous behind-the-scenes, cachet, maybe, in order to do this. How does a freshman legislature build that sort of a resume to get people like Urban to talk to them even?
Well, I think it's not just the development of the relationship with the company. And I think whoever comes into my seat will benefit from having Senator White and his years of experience here as still being the state senator. When I first came in, Don had been in office for just 2 years. So he was fairly new as well. And we had a fairly new team overall within the county. Things were changing over at the commissioner's office, at the congressional level, at the local level. So everybody was fairly new in their position. So I think whoever takes over for me, will benefit from a lot of years of experience in the other positions, from the courthouse to Senator White. And, the new Congressman, G.T. Thompson, he may be new to our area, but he's certainly not new to Washington, D.C. From the other vantage point, and I know, over the last couple of years in particular, as state dollars and federal dollars have gone into the development of Windy Ridge Business Park, a lot of folks have said, well, why do you keep pouring money into that park? Because there's only one business there, Krebs, when their building burnt down, relocated to Windy Ridge. Why do we keep putting more money into this business park without any businesses? Well, this was the purpose to it. This is what we had been working on because, a company like this is not going to come to an area and say, all right, we're going to give you 5 years to develop a location for us to build a building. They broke ground last week. They're intending on building almost a 900,000 square foot facility in less than a year and having it fully operational. And you can't wait for the roads to be developed, the water, the sewage, the electricity, and all the amenities to go along with it. Companies, in order to attract them, you need a ready-made site for them to be able to move into.
And big deal companies like that, when they come into an area, they really change the economic landscape because other businesses sort of tag along with them sometimes.
Absolutely. They're generally the first one, but never the last company to go into a community. I know conversations have already been had with the company about other folks who like to follow a company like Urban Outfitters. And you see, last week we had all the media attention here in Indiana County, but now you're seeing the Pittsburgh news stations have picked it up. Philadelphia Business Journal just picked it up this past week, the Central Pennsylvania Business Journal. So it's getting an awful lot of attention for Indiana County in a positive way.
Absolutely is. All right. So you've got just a short time left in the House
Yes.
of Representatives. Been meeting this week, of course. The legislature was back in session this week. Some of those discussions that are being held now are discussions you won't be around for when they finally come to their conclusion and bills result or policies are set out. What are some of the things that you would like to see happen in the next 6 months, 1 year, 3-4 years down the road?
Well, look, I think that's going to be easy for me to say because I'm not going to be in the position. But I think some of the items left on the table, property tax elimination, it's something that the governor has said he's open to. You have folks talking about it in the Senate and in the House. I know the elimination bill kind of got stalled in the Senate this past year, but that's an issue I'd like to see finally come to a conclusion. Tax reform overall. You saw what happened at the federal level, driving money in to local economies, state economies. Our state unemployment rate is one of the lowest unemployment rates we've had in decades right now in Pennsylvania. Business tax reform. I think an overhaul of our tax system just in general, from property taxes to business taxes to personal taxes. A tax code that was set up 30, 40, 50 years ago doesn't necessarily apply to the year 2018 and beyond. Maybe we can reshape that to keep up with technology, to keep up with just changes in society as a whole, so that we could be more competitive against other states and against other countries when you're looking to attract businesses to Pennsylvania.
The federal tax cuts that took place, they become political issues when you get to election season, and we're hearing a lot of things about tax cuts and where they are targeted and who's the beneficiaries of them. Has the general populace benefited from that? Do you see also then a state benefit to looking at tax cuts for state residents?
I think only with President Trump could you have giving citizens more of their own money back be a political football come election time. And I think really it's more of a testament to the polarized nature of our nation as related to the president as opposed to the economic policy. Because when you look at the economic policy, every economic indicator shows that we're better off after the tax cuts than we were before. If you look at it from a state perspective, personal income levels have gone up. Unemployment has dramatically decreased. State revenues have increased without tax increases to go along with it. That means more people are out there taking those dollars of their own that are returned to themselves, spending those dollars, and really getting the economy rolling. So if you look at just purely economic indicators, we're in a much better place after the tax cuts than before. I think the political football is more related to just, the president and some of his, communication styles more than anything else.
All right, so just a couple of moments left with State Representative Dave Reed, the House Majority Leader. The House leadership, as we get into the next not election cycle, but the next session, is going to change hands. Mike Turzai probably still going to be there as Speaker of the House, yes?
As long as the Republicans are in the majority, I would presume so.
All right, and then who ascends to the seat that you currently hold as Majority Leader?
That'll be up for the caucus to decide. I think probably the front runner is a young man. When I say young man, I think he's actually a year or two older than me, but we're around the same age bracket, named Brian Cutler from Lancaster County. Brian is currently the majority whip. Very good, smart young man. He and I have worked very, very well together over the years. We've got, similar families, similar ages of our kids, and I think he will do very well in that position.
You hear from people around these parts saying, you build up all that seniority, now we're going to have to start with freshmen, and so we won't get as much attention from Harrisburg. You hear that? That's not true, is it?
Hopefully it's not going to be true. Certainly I hear from folks, as the saying goes, you're never more popular than you are on your way out the door. But I think, just overall, everything changes in life. It was time for a change for me in one form or another, and this year's been a little bit of a roller coaster as to how and where that change would take me. But overall, I think change can be good for everybody. Fresh instincts, fresh perspectives on issues, and I think whoever takes over for me will do very well in this position locally and hopefully in Harrisburg as well.
Representative Dave Reed, thank you.
Thanks, Todd.